Hey, welcome. Today, we are going to demystify the concept of area. And look, I get it, you might be having flashbacks to math class, but trust me on this. Understanding area isn't just about memorizing formulas. It's really about how we measure, well, everything around us.
I mean, think about it. Have you ever tried to figure out how much paint to buy for a wall? Or if that new rug will actually fit in your room? These are all questions about area. So how do we actually measure the amount of space something takes up?
And that brings us right to the official definition. Area is just the amount of flat surface inside a shape. But here's the real key, the part you absolutely have to remember. It's all measured in square units. We're basically asking how many tiny 1 by 1 squares can we pack inside the shape. That single idea, it's the key to everything else we're going to talk about.
Okay, so let's kick things off. Before we can start measuring anything complicated, we need to get super clear on what we're measuring and the kinds of shapes we'll be dealing with first. So for now, let's keep it simple. We're going to stick to shapes made completely of straight lines. The fancy name for these is rectilinear figures, but really, it just means no curves. We'll get to circles and stuff a little later, I promise.
So, with all these straight-sided shapes, where do you even begin? Well, it turns out you can understand almost all of them if you just master one single foundational shape.
And that hero shape is the good old rectangle. It is the foundation. And its formula? It's about as easy as it gets. Just multiply its length times its breadth. So if you have a rectangle that's 10 centimeters long and 5 centimeters wide, you just do 10 times 5, and you get 50. That means you can fit 50 little 1 centimeter squares inside. It's 50 square centimeters. Simple, right?
Okay, so we've got the rectangle down. Now this is where it gets really cool. What if I told you we can use this one simple shape to figure out the area of a bunch of others? All we have to do is slice it up and move the pieces around. It's kind of like a puzzle. All right, let's try something. Picture that 10 by 5 rectangle in your head again. Now, imagine taking a ruler and drawing a perfectly straight line from one corner to the opposite corner. What do you think happens when we cut along that line? Boom! You get two identical triangles. And this is not a coincidence. It's the whole secret right here. It shows us, plain as day, that a triangle is literally just half of a rectangle. This one little visual trick unlocks its formula. And that's exactly why the formula for a triangle is 1/2 times base times height. See? It's not some random rule you just have to memorize. It comes directly from the rectangle we already get. A triangle is just a rectangle that's been sliced in half. It's that simple. Okay, so let's try this trick on another shape, the parallelogram. You know, it looks like a rectangle that someone kind of pushed over. It's all slanted. So you'd probably think it needs a totally different formula, right? Well, maybe not. Let's reveal the parallelogram's secret. It's just one simple move. Watch. If we just slice off that little triangle from one end and then slide it all the way over to the other side, look at that. It fits perfectly. We just turned that slanted parallelogram into a perfectly straight rectangle. And since we didn't get rid of any space, we just moved a piece from one side to the other, the area has to be exactly the same. This means the formula for a parallelogram is just its base times its height. The real height, mind you, the straight up and down one, not the slanted side. It had the same area as a rectangle all along. It was just in disguise. So the big takeaway is that we can break down tricky shapes to figure them out. Now let's push that idea a little further and see how we can tackle shapes that look way more complicated. Whoa. Okay, at first glance, a shape like this, an irregular polygon, can look super intimidating. There's no obvious length or breadth to multiply, so how in the world are you supposed to find the area of that? But it's not impossible. Not at all. We just use the same logic we've been using. We treat it like a puzzle. We can just slice this big, complex shape into a bunch of simpler shapes that we already know how to solve. A couple of rectangles, maybe a triangle. We just find the area of each little piece, then add them all up at the end. See? Every complex shape is just a bunch of simple shapes put together. All right, we've pretty much conquered the entire world of straight lines. But what happens when there are no straight lines at all? It's time to go around in circles. Now, to talk about a circle's area, we just need to know 3 quick things. First, the radius, which we call r. That's just the distance from the very center out to the edge. The diameter is the distance all the way across. And then there's pi. You've heard of it, right? That famous number, roughly 3.14, that is the magic ingredient for anything and everything to do with circles. So, to find the area of any circle, we need that special ingredient pi. The formula is pi times the radius squared. Or, to put it another way, you take the radius, you multiply it by itself, and then you multiply that result by pi. It's this one elegant formula that unlocks the area of every single circle in the universe. You know, we've actually covered a ton of ground here, from straight-up rectangles to perfect circles. So let's bring it all together into a handy little toolkit that you can use anytime you need to measure a space. And here it is, your go-to cheat sheet. We've got our rectangle, the foundation, the triangle, which is just half a rectangle, the parallelogram, which is really a rectangle in disguise, and of course, the circle, which needs our special number, pi. As you can see, there are formulas for other shapes too, but they all build from these same core ideas. And hey, before we finish, let me give you a quick pro tip, especially if you're studying this for a test. 1, always write the formula down first. 2, be really careful when you plug in the numbers. And 3, please do not forget to write the correct square units in your final answer. That little squared symbol, the cm squared or m squared, is what tells everybody you're talking about area. So there you have it. We've demystified area. It's not just a bunch of random rules to memorize. It's a logical system for measuring space that all starts with one simple rectangle. So now the question is, what are you going to measure? Seriously, look around you. Your phone, the tabletop, a window. You now have the toolkit to find the area of almost anything. What will you discover?